Hello everyone, it's Tuesday, Harp Tuesday, August 30th, 2011, and on this episode I'm going to be doing a look at O Carolan's Air from Betty Paret's first harp book. And this is a book that I've mentioned before. It's got lots of nice music in it. And O Carolan's Air is on page 27 in my edition. O Carolan, of course, Turlough O Carolan is probably the most famous of the Irish harpers. He wrote many pieces of music, and this particular piece is a very haunting, beautiful melody that it's not terribly difficult to play. It's nice and slow and melancholy, and I thought I would do sort of the equivalent of an in-depth look at this piece, as if you were learning this for the first time. And so the first thing is I'm going to look at it hand separate, which can be something to try when you're learning a new piece, especially in the beginning. There's so much to think about. It can be such an overload on the brain that sometimes it can be good to just break it down and just do the right hand or the left hand, so that there's a little bit less that the brain has to deal with. And this piece starts, we place both the third finger and the thumb, and this can be a great opportunity to just check that number 2, the first finger here, is not curling up or getting tight or anything. That it's just gently and loosely relaxed down here. So again, for some people there's a tendency to curl up these fingers, so just make sure everything's hanging down nicely and relaxed. And now we just have a single note that's not connected to anything else. And in general, when that happens, we play it with 2. That's not always the case, but it's just sort of a general rule, and it's good to get in the habit of doing that, so that and now we play 2 by itself. And conveniently in this case, it sets us up for this next little bit, which we're placing these 3 notes, and we're going down. So again, one thing to perhaps think about is that as you're playing these, I know I talked about when you're connecting under, you sort of might shift the hand around, but if there's no extra connecting going on, the hand should stay in the same position so that the hand's not going down. It's just that the thumb is playing, wrapping around nicely. The finger's going right into the palm. And this number 3 is going right into the palm. And then again we have a single note, and it's played with 2. And then we have this little connecting pattern. So we place 1 and 2, play 1, and now we place the thumb over, and this is of course where last episode talking about crossing over and under, we're going to cross over, so the thumb gets placed, play 2, and now we place 2 and 3 before playing the thumb, play the thumb, play 2, replace these guys before playing the third finger. So replace, and now cross 2 under, play the thumb, and before playing 2, place the thumb, So this is a perfect chance to work on your crossing over and under, and making sure that each note is nice and clear, and that it's a nice line that right from the very start of that, it's leading us to the end, and that each note is even, and that there's no, nothing interfering on the crossing over and under. So we finish that, and then we get to do it all over again. We come off and play 2, place these 3, play 2, and do this little crossing over and under section. And then we get this next little bit. So we place this time, instead of starting with 3 and 1, we're placing 2 and 1. And again, just a single note that's not connected, so we're playing with 2. And then we get this little pattern here. So again, we're playing 2, we're connecting 2 and 1, playing 2, connecting back to 2 again before playing the thumb, and coming off. And again, if this is where, if you've practiced a little bit with the wrist movement, any time when you're playing just a single note, or when you're coming off, you can think about just a little rise of the hand, a little wiggle of the wrist there. And then we get a similar thing, but just a little bit lower, a couple slightly different notes. 2, 1, and then 2 by itself. And this little. And now we get 3, 1. So again, making sure that 2 isn't getting uncomfortable or rising up or anything. It's just nice and relaxed. And coming off. And now we have a big long section where it's all connected. So we start with 2 and 1 because we're going up, we're still connecting in that direction. Now we're going to start down again, so we connect these guys, 2 and 3. And cross over with the thumb. Play the 3rd finger. Find the rest of these notes. And then a couple, just 2 by itself. So, and there you go. So we have this, let's do that little section again. I'll do it one more time. So here everything's connected. And now all this is connected as well. So there's the right hand. The left hand is pretty easy. Now we have these chords. Yummy. You can play them just flat, just straight like that. But this is also a great chance to do some breaks. And if you practice broken chords, this can be a great place to use them, because you can do a fairly slow break. It's a slow piece, so we can do a fairly slow break. So just making sure that those are nice and even. And we get this little section. And repeats. Now we get a lever change. And of course, if you're learning this on the pedal harp, it would be a pedal change and much easier in many ways. But on a folk harp, on a Celtic harp, we have to get this F sharp. So between playing this chord and playing this chord, oh, we need that F sharp. Make it a D major instead of a D minor chord. It's kind of a neat transition there. So you can practice 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. You can obviously start out really slow, play this, change this, play this. You can see how fast you can, how fast you can transition. Now you'll notice this lever change is kind of annoying because this string is still ringing when we're trying to move it. So ideally you'll want to change this lever as late as possible, which it's kind of annoying because normally you would be, like, let's say you played this, you'd be grabbing this as quickly as possible so that you're in plenty of time to grab this next chord. But because if we move the lever, can you see that actually? Hopefully. Well, it's a lever being flipped up here. If we move it too quickly, we're going to hear that, which we don't really want to hear. So ideally, we're going to 1, 2, 3, 1. Think about changing it on the third beat, and that should still give you time to go from, changing it to playing down here. And you can practice changing it and then looking, oh, where am I going to go? From here, I'm going to go on those notes. Okay, ready? Go. And I think I talked about a similar exercise in maybe talking about the 4A or something like that, about, when you've got a big jump, about practicing looking where you're going to go and then jumping or trying to find it really quickly and stuff like that. So you can do some of the similar thing by having your hand here and just training it that from here you're going to find this, not to get tense or anything, but just you're going to find it pretty quickly. And the other thing by changing it on the third beat is that this will be playing something in the right hand on that third beat. So we've just finished 1, 2, 3. We'll have a little sound to cover up any sort of noise that this makes from still vibrating a little bit. So we have this 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. So here is an example where between this and this, we're changing this F sharp back to F natural, but we don't need to worry about the string is not vibrating. So you want to change it sort of in the middle of, we go from here, we change it down, we play. We don't have that worry about trying to put it on to beat 3. So, and we just have some more chords. So the left hand, as you can see, apart from broken chords, which may or may not be something that you're comfortable with at this point, it's pretty easy. The only tricky thing maybe is getting that lever change done in time. Now, there's one more thing to practice before you sort of start fitting it all together, and that's fitting that broken chord in, because if we played it flat with no break, it's pretty straightforward. When we're breaking, what's going to happen is we're going to break before the beat, that the beat is going to come with the right hand, with a top note. Because essentially, it's actually a 4-note broken chord. And here's the beat, so we get 1, 2, 3, 1, 3, 1. So you'll notice 3, 1. I'm starting this before that first beat. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, and 3 and 1, 3 and 1, or whatever it is. So it's getting used to that idea of starting it before the beat and timing it so that the end, the top, falls on the beat. So that can just take a little bit of practice. And certainly you don't have to break it. You don't have to break them all. I think I didn't break this one right at the end. I don't think I broke that F chord here when I played it for you at the start of this episode. And certainly you could do very little break, play around with it. But it's kind of, is a educational thing. It's kind of nice to practice that fairly wide break just for that timing of 1, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Just so that's whether ultimately you decide you like it with a lot of break or a little break or just some break. It's kind of fun to play around with doing a fairly wide break on most of them. And the final thought I would leave you with is along the same lines, and that is just thinking about once you have it, once you've put it together and is thinking about sort of what you want to do with the bigger picture of it. So we have these two sections that are the same. The second time you could be a little softer perhaps. Or you could start and you could be soft, and the second time you could be louder. Try that, see what you think. Do you want, this is marked forte. And then piano. Crescendo, decrescendo. Do you like that? Do you want something slightly different? You could start this whole section quietly. Do a big crescendo through the whole thing. You could start it loudly. And gradually decrescendo. Sorry about that. Gradually decrescendo instead of this abrupt piano. And then maybe crescendo again through here. Play around with it. See, do you like it play this way? Maybe I'll try it this way. Maybe I'll try it that way. And just have fun playing with sort of the bigger picture, the bigger shape of the piece. And of course, right at the very end, it's very sad. It's all over. We've come down. Let's see. Trying to put those just in the perfect spot that they're slowing down a little bit, but maybe not too much, not too obvious, but just milking that for all it's worth. It's very sad, but it not being too corny, not sort of. Or maybe you like that. Maybe that's fine too. Just having fun and thinking about sort of the phrasing and how you want to shape the whole piece, because you can do that whether it's something like this, which isn't perhaps terribly difficult, or whether it's some very difficult recital type piece. So anyway, I hope you've had fun watching this, and I will see you again in 2 weeks' time. Cheers.